Jo-Ann, thank you so very much for taking the time to do this today because it's going to be incredibly helpful and insightful for business for job seekers. And it's nice to hear from leaders like you what should be on a resume and what leaders like you look for in a resume and in interviews. But before we dive in, I'd like to have you properly introduce your company because what I love about your company's tagline is we help businesses sell more food. So I'd love more insight on that. So I'll give you the floor, Jo-Ann.
Great. So I'm Jo-Ann McArthur. I'm founder and president of Nourish Food Marketing. And I also like to say we know a lot about a little. So we're specialized.
Oh,
We're a turnkey solution, sort of soup to nuts, but only for food and beverage sectors. So we work with everybody from farmers all the way through to finished goods, retailers, food service. So we cover the whole food ecosystem, but we stay in our lane. And we've got an in-house test kitchen. We have an in-house studio. We do
wow.
everything from original research all the way through to the advertising and in-store touch points. So
That
it's,
is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
So
it's
you're
great.
helping. So basically, you've got example a farmer that has wonderful produce. You will help this establishment bring it to market.
Yes,
And
yeah.
if I
Or,
understand,
a lot of farmers are wanting to add value and do some added value processing.
of course.
So a dairy farmer who wants to create his own brand of milk. So we'll do everything from the naming, the
Oh,
positioning, the packaging, all the way through. So yeah, it's
how
great.
fun. That is so, and that must be so rewarding because you're responsible to get good food on our tables. I love that.
Yes,
You participate on
absolutely.
that. I love
Plus treats, because treats are part of a balanced diet and whole health
Yes,
as
of
well.
course, of course. That's wonderful. Jo-Ann, you've had this for a number of years. You started this, right? How many years ago did you start this?
15. Yeah. And
Amazing.
before that, I was in big CPG. So
Okay.
Procter and Gamble, Unilever, ended my career client side as a divisional president of Molson Coors.
Oh, interesting. And I love when these doors close because such big, beautiful doors open. And it's a cliche, but it's true. I
Well,
mean,
sometimes you have to kick the door down yourself, which
I
is what I did in
agree. I
this case.
agree. Yeah.
Right?
I have that in
Became an
common.
entrepreneur, which I never thought I would be. So
I have that in common with you. I had the door shut in venture capital corporate Canada, and then this came about almost 20 years ago. So I get you.
mhm.
So, how many employees are you today?
We're about 15. Yeah.
Wonderful. So throughout the years, you had to hire many, many people. So I'd love to know what is it in a resume that where do you find yourself going to right away when you get a resume? Where does your eye like to drop at right away?
So I never do the first cut. Usually it's somebody else.
Okay.
But I will say the first thing I notice, I'll say a resume isn't a diary, it's a highlight reel. And I come from Procter and Gamble where you could do a $10 million capital request and it had
Right.
to be on a two-page memo,
Right. Right.
right? And I see too many people who are 2 years out of school with these long resumes. It should be like one page at that point, right?
Exactly. Unless it's
So
really sorry about the lag, but it's going to get better in a second. Unless, I mean, if it's relevant, would you agree that if it is on two pages, but it's relevant to you, you're not even noticing that it's two pages?
I
Would-
guess if it's a good layout. But let's be honest, somebody who's 2 years out, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's focusing on, like I say, it's not a diary. So focusing on achievements and not outputs, but outcomes, so the what, but what I want to see is the so what.
exactly. So what?
Right.
I couldn't agree more.
So yeah, that's
Exactly.
that's a big part. I will also say sometimes humor breaks through.
I love it.
And I understand you have to be with a lot of AI screening now. You want those keywords in, but somebody we hired, I think 9 months ago, he was coming from another agency, and
Hmm.
in agency life, timesheets are just a part of life. Everyone
Yes,
hates them, but
yes,
everyone has to do them. And
yes.
he had on his resume electronically had this cute little I forget the video game because I'm not a video game person.
Me neither. Pac-Man? Like
Yes,
something old? Okay.
yes, it was Pac-Man, and it showed him, jumping over. It was his little
I love it.
timesheets, and everybody who saw that smiled because that is just a universal agency truth. You have to see
Amazing.
the timesheets. Everybody hates them, and it was just a clever way of showing his creativity and sense of humor and insight. So
That's
that was
beautiful.
was really smart.
Yeah. That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. I also find people undersell themselves sometimes. We know
I
women do.
agree.
That's a
Oh my
given,
gosh, that's a
right?
given.
Like we all know that. Um,
Yes.
but I would encourage people when you're writing your resume, ask other people to talk about what's best about you because they take things for granted. I find that with
Exactly.
second languages, like
Hmm.
even if it's not like English or French as your second language, if you've
Hmm.
got a second language, wow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like those sort of things,
Yeah.
yeah, I think more people you need to think about that, and
Interesting.
obviously, volunteer work, all
Volunteer
of
work.
that is really important. Your socials as well, if that's relevant. I want to
Yeah.
see your LinkedIn. I want to see what you're talking about because I will find you online, or somebody who works here is very good at creeping people. We will
Exactly.
find your Instagram.
Mhm.
We will find your TikTok. We will find your LinkedIn. So
We
you
will.
might as well share it,
Yes.
because if it's we
Yeah.
want to see what you're talking about and what interests you, and yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of language for a second, within your organization, is the requirement, would it just be English or is there a second language requirement within your organization?
Not for everybody, but for some people. We've got people in Montreal as well.
Oh, okay. I
So,
see.
but yeah, I forget how many languages we have here. We
Okay.
counted it up at one point. It's a
Right.
lot,
It's
especially in Canada where we're so
yes, sure.
multicultural, right? So
Exactly.
if you've got a second language, no matter what it is, it's going to put you ahead of somebody else.
Okay. Good advice. Sometimes, I mean, here in Quebec, it depends. If yes, if you put English and French, of course, that's wonderful. But sometimes it could happen that if you start putting other languages and it's not relevant to the position, it might tarnish the profile in sometimes in within
Mm.
certain companies or environments. But I can see that that's really not the situation over at Nourish Foods because you appreciate for you you clearly are hiring people like you're hiring a person you want to know them they're gonna be
Yes.
a new colleague and new maybe even new friend in a way so I could feel that from you so that's amazing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, I think it was CBC Radio who used to have the tagline, um, we sound the way Toronto looks, or something like that. So,
Mhm.
like, we want, not everybody should not look like me because that's not what Toronto looks like. And
It's
so, we need to make sure that what we're creating is culturally appropriate.
yeah.
And sometimes, just having more people with a different lens
Yes,
on it,
yes.
they'll say, oh, that color is offensive in this group, or this isn't, you
Exactly.
wouldn't do that. So that really helps us, and we always get a richer solution, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. All right. I want to respect your time. So let's jump into the second and last question. I'd
Yeah.
love to know what interviews in your career you have found that they were very memorable, good or bad, any that would lead to some advice for the job seekers out there when it comes to interviews. So you can
Yes.
share both good or bad or whatever
Well,
was
I'll
memorable for
start with
you.
the bad. Somebody
Okay,
showed
those are
up.
fun.
Somebody showed up in flip flops and very casual, and had no questions. Like at the end, it's like, okay, what questions do you have for me? And that's when I really start paying attention, right? Because that shows what they're thinking of, how curious they are, um, how much research they did. And, the number of times at the end, somebody will say, oh, no, I'm good. And I'm thinking, you just had the opportunity to spend time with the founder and president of the company, and you're not curious. You have no questions. It's like, I don't care how good the interview was. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Because it's very, I don't know, to a certain extent, it's also insulting to us founders of an organization. This is our baby, it's our project, it's our creativity, it's our blood, sweat, and tears, it's a passion. We have a mission, we're
Mhm.
driven, and we'd invite you to be part of this drive. And you're not excited? It's almost like dating, like what did he think of me? Did you get any feedback? You want feedback. You want to, we're human after all. So
Yep.
I agree with you. Some interest, sincere interest needs to be shown. So,
Yeah. And even if you've been through a couple of interviews before,
mm,
like it's okay to ask the same questions because I may have a different answer, right? So,
I love it. What
yeah.
great advice, Jo-Ann. That's a really good point. Yeah. What
Yeah.
about a good, do you have a positively memorable one?
Yeah, somebody showed up and she baked cookies for us.
Oh, okay. That's so like your culture. I love it. I can
Right?
tell. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It
and it
works.
wasn't
It
just
works.
any, but it showed
No,
her passion for the area. And I'm trying to
exactly.
remember, but at the time it was a very
Brilliant.
trendy, like TikTok back then wasn't around, but it was something that was like up and coming ingredients and that. So she put some care and thought into it. Yeah. So that was you show up with food, come on.
Yeah, and you're a food company and you take care of the ingredients. And so she took
Yeah.
care of the ingredients in it's not just a chocolate cookie. It was something very special, very well thought out. Love it. She obviously got hired, I'm assuming.
She did. And you know
Amazing.
what? She stayed with us for quite a while. But
Amazing.
her true passion, she
Oh,
wasn't, we weren't hiring her for the test kitchen. We were hiring her as an account executive.
okay.
And she has since left and she's on Canada's baking show this year.
Oh,
You
I
know, the
love
CBC.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So she's one of the contestants. So yeah, looking
Oh,
forward
you
to
must
that.
be so proud. That's so
Oh, yeah. The
amazing.
whole team's just like,
Of
woohoo.
course. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
wonderful. That is so wonderful. So this has been really, really insightful. Jo-Ann, where can we find the food that you bring to our table? Where can we purchase them? Can we get a hold of them here in Quebec? Can you share some
Well, we
labels?
work for we work for a number of clients. So
Yes,
yeah.
of
Yeah.
course you do.
So
Can
yeah.
you share some labels that we can look out for that we'll see the rendering of your work, or
Well,
is that
Red
confidential?
Pouch Sugar is a client.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so yeah, they're the
Oh,
Canada's oldest sugar maker. So
yes,
yeah,
they are. That
absolutely.
is fabulous. Joanna, thank you so very much. This is incredibly insightful, hearing it from a founder and an executive on what should be on resumes and how interviews should be, dealt with and conducted. So this is really insightful. We'll add it to this YouTube channel and we'll share it, and it'll be featured and mentioned also in my book for people to
Great.
go and look at this interview. So thank you
My
so much, Joanne.
my
It was
pleasure,
a
Laura.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for this. Have a good one.
You too.